Hello students, I think you must have watched the first video that I shared with you regarding understanding the conceptual background behind the cluster analysis. Now we'll see the hands-on session on the cluster analysis. I have a data with me, so this data will be shared with you in the Edu server Moodle. You can download the same and then you can run this analysis in your system. So before we get into the cluster analysis as such, we'll just try to understand the data first. Now you could observe these columns. So in the data view option, I have, this is a US based data. So this data contains the details on the 49 cities in US. So the details of the 49 cities and the population's demographic characteristics has been listed in the data. So we'll see what are those demographic characteristics. It is the first column talks about the percentage of black people in each of the city, and secondly, so the percentage of Hispanics, the third percentage of Asians, and the median age of each of these population. And then in the next column you have the unemployment rate, and in the last column you have the per capita income. So all these are the demographic information. So you must be wondering, having had the demographic information already in hand, now what is the purpose of again going for a segmentation? Now, though we have the demographic characteristic, we also wanted to know on what commonality these characteristics forms clusters among themselves. So this is what we are trying to explore. Now, one more thing I wanted to emphasize, we have seen a lot of tools like, regression analysis, and then discriminant analysis, logistic regression, etc. So in all those, we had a dependent variable and an independent variable. So we will regress the dependent variable on the independent variable, and we will try to ascertain the relationship between independent and dependent variable. Basically, we wanted to establish the causality based on the regression line that we use to predict the data. So they are called as dependence techniques. But whereas in the cluster analysis, you will not have a specific dependent variable and independent variable. So all these variables are taken together, and these variables help us to explore the segments or the clusters within the data. So this is also called as interdependence technique. So you must note that you will not have a dependent and an independent variable in this particular analysis. Now, having had this, the second thing that you wanted to observe in the data is on what basis these data points are being measured. Now here in the first three columns that contains the race of the population, here it's been measured on a percentile basis. So probably out of 100, so 3%. So out of the entire total population, what is the percentile black or Hispanic or the Asians who prevails in each of the cities? So this is what is the data point we have. But whereas in the median age, so this is a continuous scale, a ratio scale probably. So unemployment rate again is a different scale, and per capita income is measured in terms of thousands. So since we have different scales for all these data points, first what we have to do is we have to standardize these data points. That's very, very important. So first thing that you have to observe is how these variables are being measured. If they are measured on a uniform scale, say for example on a 5-point scale or on a 7-point scale, if all these variables are measured on the same scale, then you can straight away go in for the cluster analysis. But then if the variables has been measured on a different scale, then we have to first standardize these scales. Now we'll see how we can standardize these scales, then we can go in for cluster analysis. So first you have to click analyze. You see a descriptive statistics over here, and under this descriptive statistics, click descriptives. So I've already pulled all these variables to my right. Make sure that you have checked this box, save standardized values as variables. You need not touch any of these tabs. I repeat, so earlier all these variables would have been on the other end. Now you have to select all these, pull all these variables towards your right, and check this box, save standardized values as variables, and then click OK. Now when you go again and check back your data view, you could observe that the standardized scores for each of the variables would have been created. Now for the further analysis, you should only take these standardized scores and not those which had been in the original data. I repeat, when the scales are not of uniform in nature, you have to first of all standardize all these variables through the options that I have told you already, and use those standardized scores for the cluster analysis and not the unstandardized scores. Now we'll see how do we run the cluster analysis. Then go to analyze. You could see a classify option over here. Yes, and you remember me, which is the most commonly method of cluster analysis do we follow? It is the k-means cluster analysis that we're going to follow. So check those, k-means cluster analysis. Now I'm going to take, as I have told you, there will be no independent and dependent variable. So all these variables are considered for exploring the cluster. So again, we'll only take up these Z scores into consideration, which is the standardized scores for our analysis. Pull those into the right. So this would have been here. So this variable, I'm going to label the cases as cities. A default option would have been 2 clusters. 2 clusters are not going to be really interesting and not, it's going to give us a proper, interpretation out of it. So let's at least have 3 clusters. You can decide upon the cluster 3, 4. As I had told you, you have to also look into the conceptual base before you decide on the clusters. Now let's say we'll have 3 clusters. We'll give 3 clusters. We instruct the system to provide us 3 clusters. Now look into the iterate option. This we are not going to touch anything. So the system by its default, it will do 10 iterations to explore the clusters, and then under the save option, you can check this cluster membership. Make sure that you have checked this, and under the options, you have initial cluster centers already been checked, and also check this ANOVA table if not, and give continue. So then click OK. So first you have to pull all these standardized scores to your right, and then label the case by city. The number of clusters could be 3. We'll also try with 4 and 5 later. So first of all, let's give 3 clusters, and then in the iterate option, we are not going to do much. Then under save option, there'll be already cluster membership being checked. If not, do check that. And under options, initial cluster centers would have been checked already. If not, do that and check ANOVA table as well. Then click continue, and then we are going to give OK. So we have got the result. Now you must, if you could recall, in the k-means clustering method, I told you first the clusters are being formed on some initial clustering basis in a haphazardous way. Then each of these clusters will be calculated for centroid, and based on the centroid, later they will be moved, and then a final cluster will be formed. So that is what I had told you in the earlier for part 1 video. So similarly, you have this initial clusters being created first, then after this process of classifying them based on the centroid, this iterations, there have been 2 iterations been done. In the first iteration, you could see the first and second clusters were not significant, and in the second iteration, all these 3 clusters had been significant, and based on this, a final cluster was created. Now, what does this table actually tell us? Now, the first cluster, so this is the first cluster, second cluster, and third cluster. So this first cluster has been formed on the basis wherein the Z score for black percentile had been between 0 to minus 0.68. Now to view it on a better method, let me double click this and select all these values, give a right click. You could see a create graph over here and click bar. So this will give us a better view on the result. Now when you observe this, so each of these bars represent various variables. Now this blue one wherein, so the first cluster is formed based on a Z score for percentile black between 0 to say 0.6 over here, whereas the second cluster has a positive Z score between 0 to 0.1. That's what we observe here. Whereas the third cluster, it's again on a negative Z score between 0 to minus 0.1. So similarly, based on all these, each of these clusters have been formed. Since we had instructed the system to generate us 3 clusters, it has given us 3 clusters. If we had given 4 clusters, then it would have created us 4 clusters. So the number of clusters is defined by the researcher and not by the system. Whereas if you could see the other method, say the hierarchical clustering, wherein the system itself generates the number of clusters. So if it could be 10, 5, 7, 8 or 9 or 3 or 4, whatever, the number of clusters will be generated by the software itself based on the data that we provide in hand. But whereas here, we, the researcher, defines the number of clusters. Now this ANOVA table is something very interesting that gives us more intuitive detail on the analysis. Now you could see in the very first column you have the Z-score names, the variables names being listed. In the second one you have the mean square of these variables, and then the degrees of freedom, and then what is the error term and all that. What is more fascinating and interesting is whether these individual variables do significantly contribute in creating the 3 clusters. That is what we have to see. Now when we observe the F statistics and the significant value, all these values are significant, which is say 95% level of significance, which is p-value is point less than 0.05. So we observe that all these values are significant except for the first one. So this is 0.104, which is greater than 0.05, which means it is not significant. What does that mean? So the very first variable, the percentage of black in the population, do not have any significant contribution in creating a cluster. Whereas all the other variables, percentage of Hispanics, Asians, median age, unemployment rate, and per capita income, all these variables are significant contributors to creating a cluster. So even if you include this variable and you create the cluster, this no way it's going to help you in defining the cluster. That is what is statistically it means. Now just move on to the number of clusters that has been number of cases that has been pulled into each of the clusters. So here we have 3 clusters. So the second cluster seems to be the largest of all. It has 43 case points, and in the first cluster it just has 5 case points, and interestingly the third cluster has just 1 case point. Now let's go back to the data view. You could see we have checked the cluster membership option in the analysis. So this gives where each of these data points falls into each of the clusters. So all these data points fall under the second cluster, whereas you have some clusters under 1 and only 1 under 3, because we had only 1 case point under cluster 3 and you would not observe any other cases under case 3. Now again, looking at the analysis, we noticed that this particular variable is not a significant contributor to creating a cluster. So let me rerun the analysis by removing this variable, percentage of black, and then see what happens to the analysis. So I'm going back or repeating the same step just by removing the first variable because it is not significantly contributing to the cluster analysis. So I have removed that, and all these, let it remain the same. I am not making any change on all these options that I have checked already. So just give OK. Now again, let's look into these clusters. The cluster value has changed. Earlier it was between 0 to a negative value. So it was between 0 to minus 0.6. Now it has been moved on a positive score since, looking into the Hispanic scores. So this has been between 0 to 2.24. So similarly, it is the same, but the first variable has been removed. Now let's see, or let's view it in a graph. So create a graph and look into the bar diagram. Now you could see we have percentile black being removed, and then you have your percentage of Hispanics and Asians and then mid-age scores represented in a graphical form in the bar chart. Now let's have a look at the ANOVA table, wherein you could observe all these variables are significant. So when all these variables are